Welcome back to Call of Duty Zombies: The Complete Story. I want to explain a few things before we move forward this time. The story for Call of Duty Zombies requires a lot of work and Easter egg hunting to be done inside of the levels. It isn't blatantly clear what actually happens in the story, and because of this, and the fact that there are multiple endings, there is a couple of things that people say didn't happen the way that we're reading it. We are taking the actual reading of the story from the wiki linked down below. And the reason that we are reading almost directly from the wiki this time around, which we don't normally do, is because Zodical and I just liked shooting zombies. We weren't a huge fan of trying to find the Easter eggs, as it requires 4 people working together, and normally we were teamed up with idiots. Without further ado, we're going to move on with the story. We will wrap it up in this single episode, and then we will move on to Final Fantasy, Halo, wrapping up Assassin's Creed, and we're going to be giving out the plot to Black Ops 2, which we did play and fully experience ourselves. And lastly, due to YouTube's weird system in which anybody can claim any video, there's a weird company going around claiming all of the Call of Duty Zombies footage. Because of that, you're going to be stuck with more gameplay and trailers, because the moment I try to put anything that might even remotely match to what we're looking for, this weird company seems to claim it. Really don't know how a foreign language music company can claim zombies footage, but hey, whatever, it's their fault that you guys have to watch the trailers again. Enjoy. When we last left off, Richtofen was looking for new test subjects. Well, he got one in the form of Tank Dempsey, who was captured while trying to rescue an agent known as Peter McCain. Group 935 supplied Richtofen with Tank to use for his human test subject, along with a few other individuals that were recently captured as prisoners of war. The test performed on them kind of made some interesting results, such as Tank Dempsey getting severe anger management issues, Belinsky becoming functionless without any form of alcoholic substance, and Masaki, whose mind became broken, with him only able to speak quiet Japanese proverbs. Dr. Groh and Dr. Schluster, after developing a wavegun in the Griffin Center, began to work on the MPD. They discovered that by opening the machine would require life force itself, and in learning this, they began to murder people. Then they would have the murdered people shipped in order to open the device. At the end of World War II, Group 935 found itself without funding again, but Maxis pressed on, and his goal was to improve the human condition. He began another test with the MDT using Samantha's pet dog Fluffy. To their surprise, during the transportation, the dog rematerialized as a ball of lightning. Samantha panicked as she really loved that dog, and she ran in to try and stop it, but just as she got into the device, the lightning ball turned into a hellhound, transformed by Element 115. Maxis quickly rushed out of the chamber, transporting both himself and Samantha very far away. Everyone else believed that the hellhound had killed them due to its Element 115 radiation. Instead, they were actually transported to the Griffin station, unharmed due to the prototype MDT being present. The MDT was wide open, and due to the lack of oxygen, Samantha ran into the device, and she became one and in control of the ether. This separated Samantha and Maxis for a little bit. Quickly afterwards, Dr. Groh warned Dr. Richtofen about the danger and received orders to bring Maxis to the station and kill him. Using the MPD, Schluster and Groh transported Maxis to the base and allowed him to speak to Samantha. Maxis pleaded with his daughter to use the ether's energy to destroy 935 and anyone daring to continue their dangerous work. She promised to fulfill this task. Maxis was then shot, and his soul became part of the station's computer system. To fulfill her father's wish, Samantha began controlling the zombies in various 935 outposts, making them kill anyone involved in the project. Richtofen devised a plan to switch his soul with Samantha so that he would be in control of the ether by bending life force with the Element 115. Richtofen traveled to the Rising Sun facility with his 3 test subjects to locate the supply of the element. They were, however, overrun. As such, Richtofen gave up on his plan and returned in search of the MDT so that he could teleport to the Griffin station on the moon. Using a special device, Richtofen communicated with Samantha and learned of the child's innocent and ignorant control of the forces that she now commanded. This gave him more drive to get control of the ether from her. Richtofen, using a machine called a Pack-a-Punch, upgraded his Wunderwaffe DG2. This unfortunately caused an MDT to overload and created a rift between space and time, sending the group 4 years into the future to an abandoned theater in Germany. With the site now unoccupied, the Russian and American forces fought over the research inside in a good old-fashioned standoff. The good old US of A managed to take the facility, leaving a large wake of dead zombies and Russians behind them. The group then captured a low-level 935 research assistant and began to interrogate him. But while this was going on, we have to travel over to the Soviet Cosmodrome. A scientist by the name of Yuri ended up being transferred from a project dubbed Project Mercury by Gersh, and this left Gersh to work on the Project Mercury himself. At his new location, Yuri notices a teddy bear and some dolls. He begins to wonder why a child was let onto the base when the child Samantha slowly begins to drive Yuri insane. The now insane Yuri finishes the Gersh device and has Gersh activated. This leads to trapping Gersh in the ether, freeing a horde of zombies into the new world. Yuri realizes a mistake and screams in terror. At this point, the group reaches the abandoned Soviet Cosmodrome, and they begin to hear Gersh speak of a device needing to be repaired. This device is called the Casimir mechanism, and after repairing the device, they release Gersh and free Samantha from the ether. While fighting it though, all the experiments for Richtofen begin to wear off, and the three start regaining their memory. Takio, the first to remember, vows that Richtofen will get what he deserves. Takio believes Nikolai is beyond hope as he drinks to forget the past. However, Tank states that he has memories of Richtofen before the fight at Shino Numa. Because of this, Takio believes that Dempsey might finally be remembering what Richtofen has done to them this whole time. Our heroes then begin to plan a way to get back at Richtofen. At this point, the Call of the Dead level happens on the side. It involves a bunch of movie stars, including Sarah Michelle Gellar. The only thing that's really important about this, though, is the fact that at the end, Richtofen gets the golden rod. No, I didn't mean anything else, guys. It really was a golden rod. Next, what happens is our group goes to Shangri-La, where it is revealed by Richtofen that this is the last thing that they will need to control the world. Our heroes manage to complete all the tasks needed, and in doing so try to help a characters named Brock and Gary, who in the end get stuck in an infinite time loop. But in the end of all of this, Richtofen gets the Focusing Stone. Now with both the Golden Rod and the Focusing Stone in his possession, Richtofen believes he'll be able to control the zombies. With this in mind, Richtofen and the others travel to Area 51 so that they can travel to the Griffin Station on the moon. When they arrive at the Griffin Station, they find it to be overrun by zombies due to Element 115 being present. Again, boy, this stuff just gets around, doesn't it? Meanwhile, a group consisting of radiation scientists investigate a nuclear test site found in Nevada. The group there becomes under attack by zombies, leaving one survivor, Marlton Johnson. Marlton then sends a distress signal before locking himself inside of the bomb shelter. Agents were sent in on a rescue mission to the test site and begin their assault on the zombies. At this moment, Richtofen puts his plan into motion on the moon. Richtofen orders the men to complete the MPD, which they do. The device then opens, revealing Samantha Maxis seemingly suspended in mid-air. Apparently, the device has been keeping Samantha cryogenically frozen, and she's being used to control the zombies. Richtofen then quickly runs to the terminal to fuse the rod with the Focusing Stone. Oh no, we find out that he's actually going to betray everyone so that he can hopefully control the entire world through the use of zombies. He then uses the completed item to switch souls with Samantha, and he finally takes control of all of the zombies. Dr. Maxis and the group attempt to stop what is happening, and Dr. Maxis has a crazy idea. He launches missiles at the Earth ozone layer in an attempt to sever Richtofen's control before it's too late. But he was wrong, and due to a miscalculation during the rush that was going on, instead of doing what the missiles were intended to do, they caused the catastrophic destruction of the planet Earth. Now the Earth has become a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and Marlton Johnson emerges from the bomb shelter to find out the whole world is now in ruins. He teams up with Misty and two other survivors known as Russman and Samuel. They all commandeer a robotic bus and use it to get around various locations. While this is going on, Richtofen and Maxis are attempting to communicate with the survivors, both requesting them to activate various towers in their favor. Due to having some control over the zombies, Richtofen can directly communicate with Samuel, and this is because Samuel was eating zombie flesh. Go figure, right? The group travels all over the world, activating the towers from Maxis or Richtofen. At this point, the story kind of diverges into two directions. If the towers are activated in Maxis' favor, then we find out that Maxis is just as evil as Richtofen. His plan is to destroy the world, which would free his daughter's soul, and in doing so would reunite himself and his daughter in the ether. He also will return Richtofen to the physical world as a blue-eyed zombie, forever to roam around, going, And I believe at some point he says, "Damn you, Maxis!" If Richtofen gains complete control of the ether, then he is able to once again return in physical form and do as he pleases by possessing the body of Samuel. It's here that things get just a little bit confusing though. Don't you love time travel plots? Unbeknownst to both the Germans, Samantha has actually traveled back in time to 1918 during the discovery of Element 115, and she arrived in Argathia. Hoping to be freed, she contacts her future father and attempted to instruct him on freeing her, although the plan went wrong after the site became overrun with zombies. As the events in northern France unfolded, the 4 survivors agreed to aid Samantha and succeeded in opening the gateway. This, of course, starts the entire series of events, and this was revealed in Origins, but it gets even more confusing, my dear viewers. It is revealed that Maxis is attempting to end the paradox that traps his daughter Samantha into an endless time loop starting the events from the beginning. And he does this in ways that we don't even know. But what we do know, as at the very ending of Origins, we find out that all of this was nothing more than a child's game. At least that's the opinion of this announcer. You are left to wonder from the final cutscene, which shows Samantha playing with zombie toys, and her friend telling her that she's playing zombies wrong. Then you hear the air sirens, and the 2 children go down into their bunker. At least in my opinion, it would appear that this whole thing takes place during World War II, and the 2 poor children are trapped inside of their house just trying to occupy their time, and they do it by playing a game of zombies with their action figures. So that means that after everything, this was nothing more than a child's game. Could this be Treyarch trying to tell us something? Well, that's it, guys. We've just wrapped up the Call of Duty Zombies from that wiki link down below. Portions of this Zodical and I experienced, portions of this we didn't get to. But what is your opinions on the Origins ending? Do you think this whole thing was a child's game? Or do you think that this is where the whole thing starts over once again? Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you still aren't. We're going to be bringing you the rest of the Assassin's Creed story, the Final Fantasy stories very soon, the Halo stories, and a whole crap ton of other content, including story reviews and our personal inner thoughts on certain things, such as, maybe I don't like Metal Gear anymore. Thank you for listening and supporting the channel, and we'll see you next time here at Eligible Monsters.